Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It has been a very long time since we have sat here for this, but this is ZFG Radio presents A Day in the Life of Liana Barden, a 10-part docu-series, and we are just now on part 2. It has been a long, long time. How have you been?
Yes, it has.
How has Liana been?
Um, I am doing okay, I guess. I just got over COVID.
I remember seeing that on your Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, and some learning curves in our relationship. Because we've been married for 12 years, so there's some learning curves. I have to be an
Long
adult
time.
and act like an adult and treat her like another adult and not act like a teenager.
Yeah, that's been a problem that we have discussed multiple times
Yeah,
on Facebook and Discord and whatnot. So, for
yeah.
those of you who don't know, how long has it been since you transitioned now? We're looking at like we're on the horizon of 3 years, aren't we?
No, we're on the horizon 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yep.
So
As a
almost
matter of
four
fact, I
years
think
ago.
it's tomorrow's 4 years.
Oh Jesus! All right, so as of this time this video comes out, it'll be 4 years to the day that Liana came out and transitioned from the previous name Joey to Liana, and that I remember the day because I believe this was still the days of Skype, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, all the homies hanging out in Skype, and then I remember Mia was the first one, and then you and normally, when somebody that you're close to comes out, it sends a bit of a shockwave. But I'll speak for the boys. Weren't really that shocked with you. We kind of seen it coming on the horizon. We had made like little jokes here and there, like, "Ah, watch, they're gonna be next." And then, 4 years later, and the funny part is I don't think you see a lot on the media, and maybe it's just the media because we know how the media is these days. When people come out, it changes their personal life, changes friendships, relationships and shit like that. But honestly, in my opinion, maybe as an outsider looking in, I think maybe that I haven't seen very many friendships change, and I think your relationship has gotten stronger. So take us through, in the last now 4 years of how it's changed friendships, relationships, your personal life, etc.
the only thing that's changed is that I don't have a car,
Oh yeah,
so I can't get around. I can't go see people. So everybody's my friend through social media.
yeah,
Even people I like know that live in town that know me that were there when I transitioned at work. You know,
yeah.
and so I can't go see like I can name off some names, but I can't go see anybody because I don't have a car. So I Uber everywhere. I Uber to
Oh
work and back.
Jesus. Yeah, I've had Uber a few times, and
Yeah,
that's a pain in the ass.
yeah.
So let, let,
Depends on your driver.
let's talk about the relationship between you and your wife. A lot of people on paper, because previously, you guys are very religious, and I'll bring it up. Religion and transitioning has always been a double-edged sword because of the things that the Bible says about other
What the
than
Bible allegedly says.
allegedly says.
Allegedly.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not that perverse in the Bible. I've read a few scriptures and a few books here and there, but I know from what I've read and I've seen, when religious people transition, it can really ruin things. But I feel like your marriage has gotten stronger since you've transitioned, and I know that there's been some roadblocks, and I do still plan to get Stevie in here for an episode
Yeah,
so she can
I
tell
was
her
actually
side.
thinking about that today. I was actually thinking about that today. I'm like, Stevie's due for a
I
transition.
I want I
Um,
That's the big one. That's the one that I really want on this
yeah,
show is Stevie to be able to tell her side because there is two sides to every story and I
yeah,
know that being with you is not the easiest thing in the world because I've been there for the fights, I've been there for the ups and downs, I've been there, especially with you. I've walked through it all with you and I know that there's times where Liana isn't the easiest person in the locker room to get along with, so But
yeah.
let's talk about that. How it's changed your relationship, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. Like what's been some of the
I
biggest
think
things?
I think that it's just like because we've been married for 12 years and we were married as Joey and Stevie for 8 years,
Hmm.
and we've only been Liana and Stevie for 4 years. So I'm still like learning, you know, like how to act and treat her,
Yeah,
as how and having not so much putting her first, but definitely put her feelings first,
yeah.
you
Still
know.
making sure that she's a priority. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So let's talk about and the reason why I agreed to do this docu series is because a lot of people know about famous transgender people. The Caitlyn Jenners, um, the Jeffree
Laverne
Stars.
Cox,
Yeah, yeah, that person. I don't even know who that is, but yeah. Uh, and the RuPaul drag show, I know none of them are trans, but like in that area,
Carmen Carrera,
yeah. And I've been in public, and I'm not a transgender. I'm just an everyday male, and I've watched as people look at transgender people when they're in public, and maybe it's because my relationship with you, I don't look at them like they're different. I look at them at how they want to be looked at. If they're a male to female, I look at them as a female. If they're female to male, I look at them as a guy. But like I see how other people look at them, like when they're ordering food or if they're just like walking around the grocery store, especially Walmart. And we know the characters of Walmart, but explain to me like how it is to be and you're not rolling in the dough by any means. You're not a rich transgender person. You haven't been able to get the surgery yet because you're still pre-op. So explain to me how it is to be in public and just that the feelings that you have when you walk into public.
the feelings that I have and the facts are two different things. The facts is that, you know, luckily, like for people listening that don't see a picture of me, I pass. You know, I look like a woman. You know, I sound like a woman. Thankfully, I conduct myself as a woman. So, um, that's I walk with my head held high. You
And
know,
that took a
and
lot of training though, because I remember 4 years ago
yeah,
it was not that way.
no, it wasn't.
Because
And uh, the I guess the perception is that, you know, I should be in the men's bathroom because I was born a male. I belong in the women's room because I'm a woman. You know, I'm a woman,
bro,
and that's it.
I take a shit in the family restroom even if I don't have my kid with me. All right, I don't. I like the family restroom because that's where I get the most peace and quiet. All right, like I don't give a damn. I don't care if you're male, female. I'm taking a shit in the family restroom.
Yeah, so like I just like and it did take a while for me to walk with my head held high and with the confidence, you know, that, you know, who I was is not who I am,
Yeah,
you know.
and
And
especially
like
like in the
the
last
wrestler, I'm not the wrestler anymore. I'm not the bouncer anymore. I'm not the hockey player anymore. I'm
yeah
not the football player anymore. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm that girl, you
yeah,
know.
and like that's so. And I in the last 4 years, I've seen you go from anxiety ridden, very depressed, and then within the last 4 years, it's like this new flowers bloomed, and like the Joey I knew before, yeah, is obviously dead, but like there's still, and I try to say this in the most professional way I can, there's still a lot of that person inside of you. It's just you actually get to be you now, and I feel like it's and I know I can speak from experience here. It's up to your creativity level. You don't book like it's 1986 anymore. We're in 96 now, but
More like 96.
yeah, we're getting up there. Um, but man, it's gotta be. I couldn't imagine what you've had to go through, especially because like jobs. I know that was a big thing in your personal life,
Yeah.
and we're gonna touch on that. Without, is the lawsuit still a thing?
Yes.
Okay, so we can't go
That
into
we
depth
can't
on
talk
that,
about it.
but it was very hard for you, job wise, after you coming out and transitioning, because you didn't go step by step. You like came out and you're like wham bam thank you ma'am. You were like firing on all cylinders
Yeah.
because it didn't just start with the clothes and you still had facial hair, blah blah blah. I like one day you were Joey and like the next day the facial hair was gone, the goatee was gone, the bald was gone, and now you got the wigs, beautiful wigs by the way. I always love your wigs when you come on the camera and I can see the different wigs you're wearing. But like that, speak to me how hard it was without going into detail about that certain issue about the job thing, about how hard it was to keep a job post transition.
Um. Well, like when I came out, I was still at uh the
That
place I
company,
was at.
yeah,
Huh?
that company over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was with the company for 5 years, and I came out of the company, and they let me go because of my performance. You
Okay,
know, so it had nothing to do with my transition at all. Matter of fact, they're very open and affirming, and like they welcome that stuff, and they don't care. But when I lost my job, I went job hunting, and without talking about it, um, there were not there were people that were not receptive to the fact that I had not legally changed my name yet.
oh that's right, because this is before you legally changed your name.
Yeah,
How long ago was that when you finally got that done?
legally changing my name is like uh 2 years
Okay,
now,
okay.
which costs $400.
Jesus. And see, that's the thing that like no one realizes. We saw Bruce go to Caitlyn, and no one got to hear the price tag. You know,
Yeah,
yes, it is a personal decision, but that personal decision costs a lot of money
costs a lot of money.
because like a lot of people, and this is just like from my neck of the woods, when they see somebody transition, they're like, oh, they're gonna go get the surgery, do the therapy, wham bam, thank you ma'am, and then they'll be done. Nah, dude, that's like a down payment on a house because like that surgery costs a lot.
Surgery. The research that I've done, surgery costs $25,000.
What is now? I
And
know I know you've went back and forth on it. So on the day of recording, it's October 25th, 2022. I want to know the decision that you and your wife have made.
oh, we're totally down with it.
Okay, because I know that we were going back and forth for a little bit. Like
Yeah,
there was a yes, there was a
it was back
no.
and forth. It was back and forth for a while,
Yeah, it was
like
like
to the point to where it was almost a detriment to our relationship.
yeah, it was like trying to book the
Yes.
Montreal screw job. No one actually had a finish. But there's gonna be a lot of wrestling references in this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I
Yeah.
apologize. But so 25,000, and then the hormones. I know you're on the hormones. How much are those
Yes.
costing you?
So I have to go see my doctor, which is like $50 an appointment every 6 months, and then the hormones cost like $15, and they last for like 3 months.
And that went down,
They,
didn't it? Because it used to be more.
yeah.
Yeah. So altogether, we're looking at. All right, so you got the 25K for the surgery, the 50
And
bucks every
here's the
six
thing
months.
is that I just recently saw, and I wanted to bring this up. Um, a girl on Facebook put up that she wanted to have a breast surgery,
Hmm.
and so she started GoFundMe for that. And I'm like, I understand, but like, I tried to put a GoFundMe out there for my modeling career, and nobody dropped a dime.
And that's it's one of those tough things. I'm not a big like GoFundMe person. I don't really like, and don't get me wrong, like there's been a lot of GoFundMe things for good reasons, especially because of the sport that I'm in love with and that you're in love with, professional wrestling. We see a lot of it, especially when a wrestler passes away or something happens to them. They do a GoFundMe, because the other entertainment company up there in Stanford didn't pay him very well for a long period of time. That they're hard times, baby, hard times, but
Hot times, baby, hot
hard
times.
times. But I see a lot of GoFundmes for good reasons, but when somebody actually like does GoFundMe for a serious thing like your modeling career or the surgery or this or that and the third, um, now you said modeling career, so what led you to do that decision? Because again, 4 years ago you were anxiety ridden about it. You were like, when you first came out, you were very anxious about everything you had to do as Liana, and then out of the blue, in my eyes, in my like maybe it's just my opinion, out of the blue, you're like, I'm gonna be a model. This was
I
not
just
something that
like
we ever discussed either. Like,
I had taken a couple. I was like, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should go check it out. And so I did a photo shoot with this lady, and my pictures came out great. She's like, "You're a natural, right?" And because I just wanted to try it, and then I did it a second time with the same lady, and different wig, different outfit, different you know place that was shot at. And then I was like, I put myself in this Fashion Global, which was huge,
yeah,
huge.
Miss Fashion Global is a big step.
Yeah. So I did Miss Fashion Global, and that was a huge step. And then I walked the runway for Victoria Henley in St. Augustine. So I'm still like waiting to for the next step in my modeling career. So it was like one of those things like I showed up at the wrestling show, and I was a big wrestling fan, and I wanted to do it. And it's kind of like wrestling. The desire just burned in me to be somebody that was out there doing performance, I guess,
The
like
thrill of performing. Yeah,
being a performer, being somebody that's out there doing like you know stuff, being an entertainer, you know.
yeah. And that's for people that don't watch professional wrestling, it's what it is. It's classified as sports entertainment, but there's a lot of aspects to professional wrestling, but performing has always been,
I just love a crowd. I
yeah,
just love a crowd.
the feed off the crowd. And
Yeah.
the modeling thing, I could not imagine walking a runway because I have friends that are models, whether it be OnlyFans models or like actual like models and shit. And the models that walk the runways, they tell me, they're like, dude, it's the and they have always referenced it to pro wrestling. They're like, how like when a wrestler's in Gorilla, they get real anxious, but as soon as they step through that curtain, it's all gone.
Yeah, it's
The
all off.
crowd's there, and it's on them.
Well, I think the other thing is that, you know, on top of being a model, which is nerve-wracking in itself, I'm transgender.
Yeah, so that's got to put,
And I'm plus size.
yeah,
Yeah. So I have plus size transgender model,
and mature because you're not
Yeah,
young,
I'm
so
not young. As a matter of fact, in November I'll be 49.
Jesus. You know, weird fact earlier. So I was playing pro wrestling sim, and I didn't realize this. Masada Tanaka's just now 49. I thought that dude in ECW was in his 50s. So to think that when I was watching that dude in 2001, that dude was like maybe 30. That's wild to me. Like
Yeah.
that is crazy. But no, he was just fixing to turn 30 back. That's stupid crazy. But 49, that's Brett Favre retired at 39. You're just now getting your life together at 49.
Yeah.
What a I mean, you've also lived two lives technically. People say you only live once. I mean, you've kind of
I've lived more than two lives.
well, I mean, I guess yeah, because of the
I've been
things.
a homeless, drug addict, and alcoholic.
And
You
that's
know.
got to be so you're going through all of that cuz I know you still go to your meetings and stuff. So you're battling that plus the transgender stuff. And like what people don't realize, I was looking this stat up because I remember looking it up when we did part 1, but I looked it up again thinking that maybe the suicide rate was going to go down because it's not talked about on the media as much now. Which I mean, granted, the media is riddled with school shootings and politics and shit, but the suicide rate, and I'm gonna look this up right now, like just so people can get a glimpse of it on my screen as I pull this up. And I apologize, I'm not sharing my screen with you, Liana. I apologize, but give me 1 second here. Suicide rate for transgender. I don't want to look after surgery. I want to look before. So, Jesus, 41.8. All right. Now, the crazy thing is that's 41.8% attempted suicide rate of transgender. The crazy part of that is 29.9% of that is transgender female teens. So, and that's actually went down
That's
from the last
because
time I
like
looked.
they're the I and like they're and I've always felt this way. Is like I had no idea when I was a teenager, like what it like what it would have been like for me had I transitioned, because I've known since I was 14, which we've discussed before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the suicide rate for the kids is higher because they get no support at all.
That and like after they come out, like the bullying and
Yeah, because I came out to my parents at 14, and they just flipped out on me. They just completely flipped out on me.
yeah. And I know I from personal experience and how long I've known you, I know that your dad was like your biggest fan,
Yeah,
and you looked up to your dad a lot. Now, like we've had conversations about your mom, but it's not been a big topic of discussion. So I can only
yeah.
imagine that there's some.
I don't talk about my mom much because my mom wasn't there for me.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
know.
I imagine that was gonna be yeah. So the fact that the suicide rate is that high for the transgender community, and I guess that's like lapping all of the, and that was in 2018. So that's not even. Hold on, that was 2018. That is. Here we go. Adults. That's what I like. Not that I like that. Jesus. Okay. So, what this is saying is anyone that has been bullied up to 4 times in their transgender lifespan, 98% of them have attempted suicide. So, with that said, have you experienced any discrimination, bullying since coming out outside of like the looking for jobs, I guess?
Um, I just I don't. I'm gonna say no because I carry myself in such a way that either people just don't want to fuck with me, or I'm just I pass, one or the other.
Now, I know that for a long time you had some thin skin. You
Oh yeah,
were you were letting a
oh yeah,
lot of shit get to you because it took a
yeah,
while for you to understand that like what people would say isn't what you thought that they were saying.
yeah, yeah.
So it took a long time.
Like the most of the bullying that I get is on social media, on TikTok.
I can imagine TikTok's a
Yeah,
horrible place.
TikTok's that I don't get on TikTok anymore because of that.
And see, I've seen I'm on TikTok every morning before I go to bed because it's what I do. I scroll through TikTok to shut my mind down, and I see videos, all types of videos, whether it be comedy, big titty goth bitches, whatever. Um, and I'll see like a video of a lady doing a TikTok trend, whether it be a dance, a transitioning screen thing, whatever. Um, and I'll look at the comments because like I'm curious to see like how people have like criticized her transition or whatever. And I'm not saying like transition like the that transition we're speaking about today, but like it'll be like going from like plain clothing to like a full get up dress or whatever. And dude, people are ruthless about that stuff. So I can only imagine. I only post like wrestling related stuff or like whatever on TikTok. So I
Like,
can only imagine.
you know how like, and I'm bringing this up because I've experienced bullying on social media in a different form. Uh, Connor plays a game called WWE Supercard, and I play Skate 23, which is a hockey game. People are ruthless and bullying on those games in chat.
Oh
They're
yeah.
terrible. They're so terrible. Like that's how you're a terrible trader. You don't know how to trade. You shouldn't be playing the game.
See,
So
I play I play Call of Duty. So
yeah,
those chat rooms are not made for the weak. Like those are some like last night I was playing Call of Duty with my roommates and this kid, dude, couldn't have been any older than 13. He just comes in and he goes, "I'm gonna fuck your mom." Just out the blue, just, "I'm gonna fuck your mom." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, what if I had a dead mom? Like, how you gonna come at somebody like that? That's. But I mean, those chat rooms have always been made for the aggressive people. Some people should not be in public chat rooms and stuff like that. But so it's been 4 years since the transition. You've lived like a whole nother life. Let's talk about where you are now because 4 years ago to now, it's been a big difference because you were jobless for a long time.
8 months.
So let's talk about how it is to have a job now and to finally kind of be getting back. You're not necessarily on your feet, but you're getting back there above water. How does it feel?
Well, that's the unfortunate thing is that I don't have a job anymore.
Oh,
They just cut my hours, so I have a job, but I have a job on the weekends.
oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to get another job.
Well, at least you're employed.
Yeah, for 2 days a week.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
feel that.
thanks
That's
Walmart. Thanks Walmart.
yeah. Well, shout out to them. Thanks, Walmart. You fucking dickholes. I don't even want to talk. That's a podcast for another day. Cause I
Yeah, that's
got
a podcast
I
on its
got heat
own.
for days for Walmart.
Yeah.
You think Bret Hart's bitter? You ain't seen nothing yet. I'm bitter. No, it's been a wild ride though for you for 4 years because like I remember that there was a time after your transition, you felt completely like off the. No, I'm not gonna say off the face of the earth, but you gave up on a lot of things. Like you stopped watching wrestling, you stopped listening to music, you stopped reading comics or watching superhero movies. Things have been a lot to you, and very slowly I've been realizing you've been getting back more into your life. Um, I don't know how much wrestling you're watching these days, but Connor has not stopped. I think Connor's picked up more wrestling along the way, actually. But you're wearing a Slayer T-shirt, so we're back into the music, and I know that you finally finished Yellowstone, and we'll get to that here in a second because we're going to talk about Yellowstone on this show. Um, but let's talk about how it is to very slowly, step by step, you're getting more and more back into your life.
What was that last part?
Let's talk about how it's been very slowly getting back into your life.
Well, I've been working um like 5 days a week and working from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night. So like I haven't been in this room. I haven't been on radio. I haven't been watching wrestling. And like I miss this room because it's got all my wrestling figures. It's
There's
got all
so
my
much
hockey.
history for us in that
Yeah,
room.
yeah,
There's been a lot of conversations happen in that
yeah.
room.
I've had so many good conversations at this desk. It's just been unreal.
It's a pretty wild, historic
Yeah.
ride right there.
Yeah, I love that. I literally like I wish like I could like somehow let everybody have my room.
or like
Yeah,
a room like that where they have that experience,
yeah,
because every
yeah.
time I feel like every time you walk in that doorway, it's this is like your world right here. Like
Yeah, and that's the other thing. And when you came down here and you were passing through and you couldn't stop, that kind of sucked.
I hated that so much. And let me explain
Because
to you.
I actually had a DVD pulled out to watch with you.
So I'm gonna break this down. So we're in Florida, and for those of you who don't know, a couple months back I had a traveling job where I was traveling the country remodeling WalMarts. And yeah, fuck you Walmart. But so we're in. I,
Thanks, Walmart.
I started the trip in Jacksonville, Florida. I ended up going to Orlando, Tampa, Merritt Islands. I was all over that damn place. Well, 2 weeks before I'm scheduled to leave, we see the forecast that there's a hurricane that's going to be coming through. Me and my buddy Caleb, we're from Central Arkansas. We don't have that shit where we come from. We only see it on the news, so we're like, dude, we're out. We're out this bitch. Like, we're fucking hell no, we ain't staying for this. So we called our boss. We're like, hey, dude, hurricane's coming in 2 weeks. We're supposed to leave like the day it hits. We're not trying to be a part of that evacuation process. We're piecing out right now. We're gonna go. We're gonna go home. Back and forth with my boss, and it's. I'm not gonna say my boss was an asshole because he really wasn't. He was very understanding. I kind of pulled the rug out from under him and was like, I'm not gonna do the job. And so I tried to get a hotel for 2 days in St. Petersburg because we wanted to stop in St. Petersburg because my buddy Caleb wanted to go to the seafood place that was there, and I wanted to go see you. So it was gonna be two birds, one stone. We were gonna take you out to dinner. We're gonna take you and Stevie. We're gonna do all these things. And I had a plan. We were gonna do a podcast from your house, and we get. I think we something happens right outside St. Petersburg. Oh, a dude gets shot. We watch a dude get shot on the interstate, and Caleb drove all night straight through St. Petersburg. Didn't even stop. He was freaking out. It was a bad time for him. I slept in the car. I was not awake, but I slept like a baby. I was like, I've seen enough fucking death matches and played enough Grand
Well,
Theft Auto.
to tell you, the DVD that I had pulled out was it's a WWE DVD that they made it and then they discontinued it. It was
Oh,
called Owen Heart of Gold.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've seen. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the cover art, and I've seen like the DVD. Like I know that it was sold at least once.
Yeah.
So we talk about that. So you lived your life as Joey previously, and Joey was a big hockey fan, big wrestling fan, blah 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 blah. And I know that like when you transitioned, a lot of people said now you have to live your life this way because you're no longer a male. You have to live your life as a female. But you have managed to be able to live life as a female, but still live it with your loves and your passions and stuff like that. So what do you say to yeah exactly the Punisher tattoo? So what do you say to people that are like you have to live your life a certain way when you do this? Like what do you say to those people?
Like I still love Doctor Who. I still love wrestling.
God, that
I
show
still
fell
love
off.
hockey. Huh?
That show fell off, and it fell off quick.
Doctor Who?
Yeah,
Doing just fine. They just started a new series.
I wasn't a fan, and this is I'm not a sexist person when I say this. All right, I was not a fan of the female Doctor.
Okay.
That's when I stopped watching. I was like,
Okay.
ah.
So, but yeah, I still like. What would I say to people that said I had to live a different, like my life differently? Like I still like I love like when I the only thing that I want that men wear is hoodies, but that's a girl thing. You
You
know,
can wear
I want
hoodies.
boy hoodies. You know, that's a girl thing. But they're very comfortable. They're big. You know, and they fit you better. But like I wear blouses and skirts, and but I wear jeans, and I still wear my Slayer, Metallica, Lamb of God t-shirts, and this is who I am. you know. And anybody that said that I had to live a different life can, well, I would say they could blow me, but
Eat a bag of dicks, people. I don't know, and I'm now I have a large array of friends in my life that have all different political views and all different beliefs and this and that. And I hear a lot of people chime in about the LGBT community and stuff like that. And I not a whole lot of people know about the relationship me and you have. So when I hear people rant about the transgender communities, I sit there and I laugh because they're like, "Oh, you should have the same view as me. You come from the same backwoods as I do." I'm like, I did. I do come from the same area you do. I just don't give a fuck. Like, you want to be a dude, be a dude. You want to be a chick, be a chick. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, just don't be weird. Like, don't fucking like.
I mean, like we went from like, and I'm just gonna say it, we went from being like best friends to like you call me mom now,
Mhm.
you know. But I was like a father to you before.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it. Now there are certain things that I've had to learn to change, because like I notice when I get really into a conversation with you, I'll slip up, go bro, or like dude. But I think you've learned to be like it's just him. It's not like he's saying
Yeah.
bro because he thinks I'm a dude. It's not like that at all. But I've tried to cut some of that shit out because like I know that sometimes it can get to you. Because that was a big thing when you first transitioned. You didn't want anyone to call you dude, no one to call you bro. And I think it was a conversation me and you actually had face to face where I looked at you and I was like, look, I say it just to say it. I don't say it because you have a penis. I say it because like, dude, like fucking, like,
Well, I will say this, and I get, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I just like looked at myself in the screen. Is that I hear people say that know me from before that I smile a hell of a lot more now.
oh, you do. The only time I'd ever seen you smile as Joey is when we were playing TW, or if like you had the opportunity to shit on Goldberg. Those were the only two times I ever got to see you smile. And for those of you who don't know, she is a very big Bret Hart fan. I'm a big Goldberg fan, and Goldberg did the kick that ended Bret Hart's career because Bret Hart doesn't know how to duck. But I watched that kick back the other day because I was rewatching that pay per view, and I watched that kick. It doesn't look that bad. I think Bret Hart's a pussy, but that's just me. FTR don't come from my head. I think Bret Hart's a pussy. Fight me, Bret. In Montreal, you'll do another job in Montreal. I promise.
So yeah, I just like I still watch. It's like there's a hockey game on right now, and not watching it because this is more important. Well, not more important, but this is priority.
I'm more important than
And
hockey.
then, and I still love wrestling. I'm very behind on Impact. I haven't watched WWE in a while. Not because I don't like WWE, I just haven't had a chance to. Um, and New Japan.
Speaking of watching shit that we don't normally watch, you know, outside of like WWE, AEW, and New Japan, I don't watch. I used to watch Ring of Honor. Now that's not a thing. I mean, it is, but it's not. I was watching or I was listening to the My World podcast with JEFF JA and he brought up Triple Mania, and like I was listening to him and Conrad talk about it. I was like, bro, that sounds like a badass show. So I was watching Triple Mania last night. I don't watch AAA at all. I don't know who 90% of these fuckers are. But that show was fucking awesome. Granted, if that shit ever saw like cable television, they're getting sued because they do not pay for music licensing at all. They were playing music that I was like, how is this on pay per view right now? But like, it was such a wild show, and like, yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I haven't finished it yet, but like the parts that I've seen, I'm like, this is like actually, I might watch AAA now. So I feel you when it comes to like and Impact. Actually, I started watching a little bit of Impact because again, I've been listening to Jeff Jarrett, and he's Jesus Christ. Impact this, impact that, blah, 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 fucking blah. But speaking of that, so you became a transgender. The passion of wrestling is still there. What what have you changed? Like, what has become new to you that you do in your daily life that you didn't do prior?
Well, be because I have a I was born with a Y chromosome. I have to shave every single day, so that's new. I have to shave every single day when I get up, and then if I'm going out, I have to put makeup on. Well, I don't have to put makeup on. I wear makeup because just I like it. I pop wig on, and I wear women's underwear, and I don't. Nobody can see me, but like if Connor can tell you, I actually from the hormones have breasts, so I had to wear a bra now. So I'm a woman. I just haven't had surgery yet.
So, if you could rate your marriage from 4 years ago to now, do you think the marriage has gotten better, or is there like more things you have to work on, or is it like
I think that with what happened yesterday, which I'm not even gonna get into, because I don't want to cry, that there's a lot of maturity that has to happen on my
between the both?
side.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, she's amazing.
No,
You
she's
know,
fucking awesome person. I love Stevie
yeah,
to death.
yeah,
I've always been a big fan of Stevie. I don't think me and Stevie have ever had a negative word. So like,
yeah,
and for those of you who don't know, and hopefully we'll get to know Stevie later on, Stevie is a very strong person
yes.
because when Liana transitioned, Liana and Stevie have a very strong religious belief, and religion can fuck with people, especially. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a condescending dickhead, but religion can brainwash people into thinking they have to think a certain way. And it like when you first transitioned, there was a lot of people that were having discussions with me about whether or not we thought you and Stevie were gonna last. And honestly, because of the religious background, how southern down home southern she is, I was like, this is a make it or break it. Like she's either gonna like not give two fucks, or she's gonna give all the fucks, and Liana's gonna be divorced. But here we are 4 years later, and you guys are still a team. You know, I think you guys have a very beautiful marriage. Obviously, I'm not there every day, so I don't see, the good and the bad. I have heard the good and bad, but so a couple more questions before we close this episode out. So a lot of people when they transition, I notice, and this has been like a big thing on my research as of late. A lot of people say that like it changes sex drives because it either kills it completely or it sends it to levels they never knew existed.
One or the other. One or
Yeah.
the other.
So like
One or the other.
what's
Because
going on
mine,
for
I
you?
have none.
You have none?
Yeah.
Like you don't even wake
Well,
up.
I wouldn't say I have none, but not like I used to have.
You're also like 49.
Exactly.
And male sex drives tend to die off at like the late
Yeah,
40s,
but
early
now I have
50s.
the testosterone going down and the estrogen going up. So my
That's
sex drive is completely different now with hormones.
hmm. There's more questions I want to ask. I just don't want to. I don't want it aired on this podcast
Okay.
because
So don't air them. Ask them after we get off the air.
there's a lot of off the air questions that are getting asked. Um, so after this episode, I do want. I did have an idea outside of this docu series because I was listening to Click This, which if you haven't seen Click This, go to youtube.com/click this. It's Kevin Nash and Sean Oliver. Because when you're NWO, you're NWO for life. Get the get up. I got a Scott Hall shirt right now, but I have no idea why, but I just feel like a podcast with just me and you outside of this docu-series when we just talk about wrestling and bullshit, I think would be awesome. I think we should sit
Yeah,
down weekly and do something like that.
yeah, that
But
sounds good.
but not ZFG Radio. We got to come up with like a new franchise, a new thing.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, this is finally after 2 years, part 2 of a 10-part docu-series. Um and for those of you who don't know what's coming up in the lineup, I'm going to try to get Stevie in here for at least an hour, sit down with her, talk about how it's been for her on this side of things of the transition, and how it's changed her life professionally and
Without
personally.
me in the room.
Yeah, without Leon in the room. Liana cannot be in the room at all. Leah, this is a Stevie and Connor moment that's going to happen. I'm going to try to reach out to some of Liana's personal friends. We're going to have some of our friends on the show, and then we're going to wrap it up. And I'm going to launch it part by part, but then after all 10 parts have aired, I plan on making a gigantic documentary out of this. So, um, yeah, that's what we got going on. Liana, thank you for your time today. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We will catch you for part 3. I killed it on that, on the Too Sweet. I killed the episode on that. All right, so that
You're
was
not
good.
recording anymore, right?
No, I'm not recording. So, no sex drive at all.
Not not no sex drive, but like definitely like a lower sex drive than normal.
So the question.
I haven't had a sex drive like a sex drive like
When's the last time you guys had sex?
I can't even imagine. I can't even remember.
It's been that long.
I mean, we've done other things, but like you know,
Okay. So, what about Stevie's sex drive? Like, I imagine she's still.
she has none.
Oh, okay, all right. She's that old
She has
lady.
none.
She's that old lady in a rocking chair, knitting
Yeah,
away.
she's 50. She's 56.
Oh, that's right. She's a cougar.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this podcast I want to do outside of the docu series. I want us to talk about wrestling. Like, I want to review wrestling with you, like modern day, old day, and I want to like get all of your thoughts on this. Like, we do episodes where it's like Connor and Leon are reviewing Starcade '97. I run down the
Yeah.
card, and like you give me like each like of your opinions about the match. But it has to be a
Yeah.
pay per view that we've seen. Even if you haven't seen it, I can throw in a watch along, and we do some shit. Like, I want to do that, but I need a
Yeah,
name
but how
for
are we gonna do it? Like, if I can't hear you on Discord?
it. Facebook has a watch thing.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, Facebook has a thing where I can share my
Okay.
screen. But I want to air the first. I want to do the first episode right now because
Right
we're
now.
here. We're here. This is never gonna happen again for like a week.
Right now.
Right now. But I need a name.
Okay.
I need a name. I was mad that Sean Oliver and Kevin Nash did click this because that's what I wanted to name it.
The stack.
The
The
stack.
stack. The stack. The stack of VHS tapes.
Fuck it. All right, that's what we're gonna call it. Oh,